Hi everyone, it's Fabe Keily here from Real Woman Global. Welcome back to Empowered Woman TV with the beautiful Kerrie Atherton.
Hi everyone.
Great to have you here today, Kerrie.
Thanks.
For those of you who missed the live Facebook, Kerrie just shared a little bit about her story, her own personal story, and her recovery from drug and prescription drug and alcohol addiction, and a little bit about her journey and what she's doing now, Stories of Hope. But today, on today's episode, really wanted to cover off about the symptoms of depression. It's a lot going on nationally, internationally as well, and here on the Sunshine Coast, I know that Kerrie and I were talking just before we started the video, and she shared with me how about 5 young men on the Sunshine Coast here in the last 4 or 5 weeks have either attempted or been successful at committing suicide. Is that right, Kerrie?
Yeah, unfortunately that's right. No, and I know 2 or 3 of those parents as well.
Yeah, which is really sad. So really want to find out, okay, what can we do as friends and family? What are the symptoms, Kerrie, first, and what can we do to support them? I know that you yourself have experienced depression like majorly, so can you share with us a bit about, what that was like and what people could have done different to support you?
Yeah, it's something I'm very passionate about, because when somebody gets to the point where they want to take their life, their total depression and hopelessness has set in. And so many people that I've worked with in my counselling are people who have fallen prey to addictions to drugs and alcohol and prescription medication as well. But in most cases, they've experienced some kind of trauma in their life, and often it's when they're younger or just events that take place. But as a result of that, hopelessness has set in, which really leads to depression. And then once that sets in, that's when people start to, think about ending their life. For me, I had suffered a lot of trauma in my life as a result of many different things, but I had a reoccurring thought of wishing that I didn't wake up, and I wish I wasn't here, and my life's too hard. I isolated myself a lot from the family. I cried a lot. I listened to sad music. I wore very, very dark clothes and dark makeup, and I just felt black, and my whole world just looked black.
So during that time, when you isolated yourself, did any of your family or friends try and draw you out? Like, what could they have done differently in that situation? Because often when someone's depressed and you say, look, come out here, people just go, oh no. So how could people handle that sort of situation differently? If you recognise that someone is isolating themselves, is it just a matter of having a conversation with them and just saying, look, I really noticed that you're doing this, is there a reason why? Is that what you mean?
I think that it's very important, especially for parents, to just try and keep that line of communication open. Okay. Even if you don't agree with what they're doing, or they're displaying behaviours that don't line up with your core beliefs. For me, even though my dad was sober in AA since I was born, and my mum stopped drinking when I was 12, and they had a lot of their own problems, but they always left the lines of communication open. And I always felt that it didn't matter how dark things got for me. I always felt, particularly with my dad, that I could go and talk to him. And so always being there and letting the person know that you're concerned about, that I'm always here for you without judgment. Come and talk to me, keeping those lines of communication open. Looking for the warning signs, like, is your loved one isolating themselves? Have they become withdrawn? Are they lacking emotion? There's lots of different signs, but talking is the number one thing to saving lives. And I mean, we've got the Are You OK Day now, and all the things that I try and do in Stories of Hope, breaking down the stigma about mental health, breaking down the stigma about depression, and letting people know it's okay to not be feeling good and talk to someone.
Okay, that's great. So listen, real practical things there, to identify if someone close to you is experiencing depression, and like Kerrie just said, really keeping those lines of communication open. So stay tuned for the next episode of Empowered Woman TV. Kerrie's going to share with us, okay, what's the next step if you think that you might have an addiction, whether it be prescription drugs, alcohol, recreational drugs of any sort. If you're going down that path and you just, you've had that bit of a wake-up call, she's going to share with what are some practical things that you can do from her own personal experience. Kerrie isn't someone who's just telling you what to do. She's been through it, so she knows exactly what you're going through or what your loved ones are going through and can give real practical tips. So stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks, Kerrie.
Thanks, bye.